guys, welcome back to episode 9 or 9.5 of Sports and Stuff. For those of you who are joining us from listening to the Stuff portion of the podcast, welcome in. For those of you who are starting the podcast experience with the sports section, welcome to you as well. I'd like to start off by saying follow us on Twitter, a shameless plug to our Twitter. If you're not following us, it is at Sports and Stuff. That's spelled SP0RTS, the letter N, and the word stuff. Today in sports section, we got a good lineup for you. I'm here with my guy Riley Cregan again. What's up, Riley?
What's up, guys? How are y'all doing?
We've had a pretty busy week in sports. There's a trade from mediocre quarterback Joe Flacco to mediocre team Denver Broncos, who already have mediocre quarterback Case Keenum.
And a mediocre owner or GM and John Elway.
Some would call it a mediocre trade.
Yeah. Yep. It's mediocrity all across the board.
And since that's mediocre content, we won't be talking about it on the show much.
Because we don't have mediocre content.
That's right. Top tier content only. Speaking of trades in the NFL, Riley's favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, second favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, have shit the bed with Antonio Brown. And he is officially wanting out of Pittsburgh. He came out on Twitter this week saying that he was ready to move on to bigger and better things. He was calling Ben Roethlisberger someone with an owner's mentality. And Riley, what's your take on Antonio Brown, man?
I think the way the whole situation has been approached and been covered, and the way Antonio Brown's handled it, the way the players in the locker room have handled it, has kind of blown it up. But essentially, players aren't happy on teams all the time. There are players that want out of an organization all the time. It takes a little while to find you're the one you fit best. I mean, there have been people that complain about the Patriots and Bill Belichick and how it's no fun to play for them. And there's been plenty of other organizations where players aren't happy and want to get out. This has just been really overblown, and then plus all the drama that we've had to deal with as a Steelers fan because of some kind of poor organizational leadership the past few years. It's received a lot of headlines. Plus the fact that Antonio Brown is a very or enjoys to be a very public figure with the way he does things. How do I feel about it? Obviously, we just lost our best wide receiver.
Probably best player.
Best player on the team now that Le'Veon is prospectively gone, but there's still a chance he could come back. Antonio. Honestly, I'm at the point though where we got an aging quarterback. We had Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. We had Martavis Bryant. We had all these guys, and Ben, Hall of Fame quarterback, apparently a really good coach, so everyone says. And the past 5-6 years, we haven't got past the AFC Championship, and we've had all that talent. So obviously, it wasn't going to work anyways, or at least we couldn't make it work. So I'm not as upset as I should be with all that talent that's likely leaving Pittsburgh.
So you're saying because we couldn't capitalize on it anyways,
couldn't capitalize on it,
big of a deal.
And it caused, I'm just tired of, as much as I love the talent, and obviously our chances are higher for the Super Bowl, or on paper when we have those people. If every year I'm going to hear more about off the field headlines than on the field headlines, I'm going to be happy that they're gone. Now if we go through this season and we hear off the field headlines again, then I don't know. I want to kill myself.
Listen, man, I gotta say, I'm a big Tomlin guy as far as his on-the-field coaching, but you can't help but kind of look at him when all of this starts going down. I mean, his locker room is falling apart. It starts, this is before Le'Veon and Antonio Brown. Don't forget about James Harrison. He is a perennial Steeler, and in at the twilight of his career, he says, screw Mike Tomlin, screw the Steelers. I'm going to go play for the Steelers' rival Patriots. And he went there and played well. And the real shame in this, to me, is the legacy that Art Rooney leaves as when the late Art Rooney, he was one of the best owners in NFL history, and he was known for his outstanding relationships with players. Then his son comes in, and I mean these ties are just broken. It's just not the legacy that his father left, and it's sad to see, a great organization like the Steelers crumbling because of player organization relations.
Yeah. So are you saying none of this is Antonio Brown's fault?
Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, there's two sides to every argument, but I'm saying that this isn't. You don't let your superstars get this upset, And Mike Tomlin and the management of this team should have more control over their locker room.
Oh, I agree. Mike Tomlin needs more control. Whether it's an ownership deal, I don't know, because even the late Art Rooney, aside maybe AB's rookie year, he was there, but then he was battling illnesses and wasn't really alongside the team for a while. The James Harrison situation, we weren't playing James Harrison because we had people above him that were playing at a higher level, and I don't know what everyone seems to have a problem with Mike Tomlin. I've always thought you said he's a great on the field coach. I've always said, hey, we've had all this talent for 5 years and nothing's worked.
That's fair.
And then we've never had drama until Mike Tomlin comes along. So I've never been too high on Mike Tomlin. When he came in, I was like, all right, we won a Super Bowl, but you can argue we won that with Cowher's team. Point is, not getting into that. I do think Mike Tomlin has some kind of leadership issue, but some of it is very specific player situations, like Le'Veon Bell wanting a historic running back contract that the organization has never given, no one's ever given, and the Steelers as a organization are not known to ever give big long-term contracts, even before, with Art Rooney, the late Art Rooney. That's a very specific situation, and I feel like that's why that happened. The James Harrison we weren't playing him. He wanted more respect, and maybe Mike Tomlin did something wrong too, but he was not sleeping in our meetings, and then he went to the Patriots, and he played kind of rotationally for them, and then didn't get a contract the next year. So obviously he was on his way out in the league.
Right. But that's the point that I'm making about James Harrison is the Steelers higher-ups let a perennial Steeler walk away from the team.
But that's okay if he's not producing.
But is it though? This isn't a guy who is passing through Pittsburgh and he was just an all-star. This guy is as much of a Steeler as Hines Ward is a Steeler, as Troy Polamalu is a Steeler. Do you think that New England will let Tom Brady play for another team?
No, but James Harrison isn't Tom Brady.
Do you think that
I can
Green
name
Bay
plenty
will let Aaron Rodgers play for another team? Do you think
let Brett Favre play for another team?
Brett Favre retired and came back for another team. That's completely different.
Brian Dawkins, perennial Eagle, played for another team. Donovan McNabb, perennial Eagle, played for another team at the end of his career. When players are on the way out at the end of their career and want to keep playing, and the team's like, hey, we'll keep you on the team, but you're just not going to play because we have better players ahead of you, then a lot of them go to other teams. I don't think that's that. Now his reaction and the comments he said were bad, so obviously there's something in that locker room, but I don't think the fact that he left the team is a rare instance.
It's not a rare instance for him to leave, but for him to leave in the fashion that he did.
Yeah,
I mean, he left with a bad taste in his mouth. And you, as an organization, you just shouldn't let your Hall of Famers, essentially, leave with a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
In the twilight of their career. I mean,
I agree. And I think there's organizational issues, but I think a lot of it, I don't know. I just think some of it is the way the league is transforming, and that maybe the Steelers aren't adjusting to, players being more vocal.
I don't know. This is, from a leadership standpoint, individuals are not unique. As much as we want to think that individuals are unique, there's hundreds of, attitude-wise, There's hundreds of Antonio Browns in the league. People who think that they're the shit and think they're bigger than the team, which I'm not saying this is exactly Antonio Brown's archetype because I don't know the guy, but the general consensus from the media is that he thinks that he's bigger than the Steelers and he wants the attention on him. There's guys like that across the league. There's guys like Ben Roethlisberger who think that he's not bigger than the Steelers, but he thinks he is the Steelers. He thinks he's more important than Mike Tomlin. He thinks he's more important than the damn logo. There's people like that across the league. As a leader, as a coach, as a leader, as a manager of that team, you have to know how to deal with these guys. You have to know how to deal with their personalities, how to make them work together, and how to inspire them towards one common goal. I mean, look at the guys that Bill Belichick has brought in, the character guys that people were like, oh, I don't know about that. Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon loves
then he
the
relapsed
Patriots.
and got.
He did. That was
got
100% not the Patriots' fault. And they are even going beyond that. They don't have to do anything with Josh Gordon. They're paying for his rehab, and they're doing everything the right way. And they take character guys that people are like, I don't know about him. And they turn him, and he's part of the team, and he's working towards being a Patriot and doing things the Patriot way. And whether they like, and some guys have left New England and said, Belichick is too controlling. I didn't like playing for him. But I guarantee you, while they were there, they were successful, and I know the team was winning.
Well, obviously, if you compare any organization to the Patriots,
it's a character thing. As a leader, you have to know how to work with individuals, and especially when you're working with multimillionaires, and many of them have ego problems. It's your fault if you can't keep locker room together, especially when it's your three biggest players. I don't understand that. You go from being the killer bees to the killer bees trying to kill the bees.
Yeah.
It's insane. I don't understand how they can be so lax and let people say what they want to say like that. They just have to have more control over the environment that they're creating.
Well, this is where I think, this is what I've heard many times about how Mike Tomlin approaches this, is that he says he will treats people fairly but not equally. Meaning some people are more important on the team. Antonio Brown's more important. Ben's more important in his view. So I'm not going to treat them exactly like everyone else, but I'm going to treat them fairly. To me, that seems like a fundamentally poor way to approach that.
It seems contradictory in my opinion.
Yeah. And here's my thing is I'm not trying to point everything at Mike Tomlin or at Art Rooney's son, but there's two things that have changed since 2001 in the Steelers. They have the same GM. They have, they obviously have different players, but in terms of leadership, really two things have changed: the coaching staff, and the like you mentioned, now Art Rooney's son is the owner. Now that happened relatively early. That happened, back when he was sick. Art Rooney's son was really running the show, even when before he passed away a couple years ago. So that happened more like 2010, 2009. That we still made a Super Bowl in 2010, and the leadership change happened, earlier as well. And then all of a sudden, after about 6 or so years of Tomlin, everything starts unraveling in these last 3 years. And it's just, I don't know, we keep changing our D coordinators, changing our different position coaches. We keep getting new players and trying to bolster things on the offensive and defense, well, really just offensive side of the ball. And nothing seems to help. Like, nothing seems to help the locker room, and nothing seems to help the performance on the field. I don't know, this season, to me, if there's drama off the field, A, and there's not performance on the field, B, or there's both, I think it may be time to make a change in one of these leadership positions. And obviously it's not going to be the owner. So either the GM, who's been there since 2001, who saw a really successful non-drama period with Cowher, or it's the coach that's kind of seen the opposite. And that's kind of my take on that.
I agree with you. I think Tomlin is on the hot seat. if I'm Rooney, Tomlin has to be on the hot seat.
Yeah, because the Steelers the Steelers are this organization that's never had any problems. If there's a player that was causing problems, he was gone.
Yeah.
That was it.
And it's okay to have that. It's okay to have that thing, that thought process that, if you rock the boat, you're off the boat.
Yeah, I mean that's a
cool.
Belichick.
I'm
that's
cool
a
with
Belichick. That's how Belichick operates. You're gonna follow by my rules. If you don't, you're gonna be gone, and you're not gonna get a ring.
Yeah. But I guess it means more when you're a winning program and people, and the Steelers have been. The Steelers are, in my opinion, the greatest franchise in football history. You could argue the Patriots, but really they're just the best franchise of this millennia. But I mean, from start to finish, just Packers, Cowboys, Steelers, as 49ers as the best franchises in football. And I don't know. I imagine that Pittsburgh fans are fairly tired of losing, and they're upset with the mediocrity. Because I mean, when me and Riley were coming up when I was little, it was the Steelers almost. I mean, they were competing every year to come up for it. I mean, we talked about...
And it's not even... I mean, you could say, oh, well, they've made 2 AFC championships in the last, 4 years. But we made them with a really weak AFC conference, and then, it wasn't even close. Everyone just knew the Patriots are going to destroy us. And it never felt competitive. The last 5 years have never felt legitimately competitive with all that talent. And now it's turned from all that talent to all this drama. And I just want to, whether whose fault it is, it's organization, it's player problems, a combination of both, I'm ready for that to be gone, to clear house. Maybe Le'Veon comes back. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, honestly, with the drama that might come with it. And just see what happens. To me, it's all right, Tomlin, you had all of them and you didn't win. Now maybe it's because there was no cohesion in the locker room. Is that your excuse now? So now take away all these variables. There's only one finger to point at, and it's you if you don't succeed.
Yeah. And, of course, he's going to say, I don't have the talent.
Yeah. And then he's going to say, I don't have the
talent. I don't know. Well, time will tell. My prediction, if I'm calling it now, I'm saying this time next year, Tomlin will be a coach somewhere else.
And I hope not. I hope we have a great season. I hope the players, the one thing that gives me faith is the rest of the players in the locker room are tired of hearing all of this.
Yeah. It feels like the Steelers need just a clean slate.
Yeah.
It really does. They need a new quarterback.
They do.
They need a new coach. They're going to lose Antonio Brown. They've lost Antonio Brown essentially, and I feel like Le'Veon Bell personally needs to be somewhere else.
Yeah. The only thing is we can put this transition tag on Le'Veon Bell, which is going to complicate things, which just basically means we can match all of his offers. So if he doesn't...
I just wish they wouldn't do that.
There's a chance Le'Veon goes out in the market and doesn't get what... He might get less than what we offered him last summer.
That's a real possibility.
And if that happens, then theoretically we'll be like, that's even cheaper than we offered you, so we'll match this offer and take you back on the team. I feel like he's not going to be super happy about that.
I could honestly... What do you think is far-fetched? I'm going to paint a picture for you. Le'Veon Bell goes out and he's getting offered $12 million. And he says, I'm worth more than $12 million. The Steelers say, well, if they're offering you $12 million, we'll offer you $12 million. Le'Veon Bell says, I'm retiring.
No, I don't think Le'Veon Bell will retire. I think he will do his best to get a big... I mean, it's going to make him look bad, yes, but he also has to prove a lot of people wrong about... people have kind of forgotten about how good Le'Veon Bell is. I feel like he's... Even if he doesn't give his offer sheet, theoretically, he should retire based on his mindset that he's had. But I see him playing next year one way or the other and just proven people wrong, I guess, because everyone's like, oh, he's been partying in Miami, he's probably out of shape. James Conner's just as good, puts up the same numbers as him, whatever. I mean, I guess he could retire, but I just see him wanting to go out there and prove that he is worth $1 that he demands.
I don't know. Once again, time will tell. I don't think it's that far-fetched.
I don't think it's far-fetched that he doesn't get the offer he wants. Now, I do think the Jets are going to give him at least an equitable offer of what we offered, which, by the way, was $14 million a year for 5 years. Pretty good contract that he turned down. I think they have a lot of cap space, and they've been basically very transparent that they want him. He's been very transparent that he doesn't want to play for the Jets, so we'll see. But I think he'll at least get an offer from them, and then he could end up just taking that.
Yeah. He seems like a highest bidder kind of player, so we'll see.
Yeah. But he wants to win, too. I mean, It's going to, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. On from Pittsburgh. I know we cover Pittsburgh a lot in this podcast. It's just a saga of drama, and it's hard to.
It's not just because I'm a Steelers fan. It's really more because they're getting the headlines now, and it's not for winning, and that's what makes me hate it. But
okay, real quick, 3 teams that you could see Antonio Brown playing for, or you think are feasible. Go for it.
Okay, so a lot of this is gonna have to do with salary cap. He's a $21 million salary cap hit, I think, is what he is with this contract. You know who has the most money? The Colts. Do I think he'll go there? No, I don't think the Steelers will trade him there. But
still got T.Y.
Exactly. I'm saying, you sign A.B., T.Y., Andrew Luck, you got your young backs. That's a scary offense right there, and they could easily afford him. They could.
What's their cap space?
Over $100 million in cap space. It's going to be a record-setting cap space.
Oh, they're going to get AB and Le'Veon.
Yeah, they could. They could get AB.
That would be hilarious.
That would be terrible. That would be terrifying. But I could see that they will offer.
I'm switching up. Go Colts.
They will offer that, and that'd be cool to see. However, I don't think the Steelers would do that because they don't want to let Andrew Luck throw to Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Talk about...
Because we got to remember the Steelers do make the final decision here.
Talk about a terror for the AFC.
Yeah. You know where I think the Steelers will send him, or I hope? I mean, I want to see AB go to a good team, but at the same time, I don't want to get railed by AB. I think they'll either send him to NFC, which could be the 49ers, which everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Or the Jets, and if they send him to the AFC.
I don't want him to the Jets.
And let freaking Sam Darnold just throw him some dead ducks. And
what's the Panthers' salary cap looking like? Because that's who I was really thinking the Panthers might make a push for him because they still don't have their guy.
Yeah, their salary cap's pretty effed. They got $15 million. Now they're gonna have most of these teams' salary caps right now will go up because they're gonna make. Once the league year starts, they'll start cutting a bunch of players.
Right.
And they'll free up some money. So $15 million will probably be more like $30 to $40 million. So they could afford AB, but pretty much that's all they'd be able to afford if they did that.
Yeah.
It's feasible.
I don't think AB is a type of player that you have to worry about the fit, though. He's just that good. He's just going to go and ball.
Yeah, no, I think all of this is just salary cap. Can we afford him? And are the Steelers going to actually consider him? Any NFC team Steelers are going to trade him to. If they get a good offer from an NFC team, they're going to trade him.
Send him to the Colts.
Now,
AB and Le'Veon to the Colts. There it is. And then they're my Super Bowl pick for next year.
It'd be interesting to see what they can do without Tomlin leading them.
A lot.
Yeah, as 21 once said. R.I.P.
Sir 21 Savage, the third. Okay.
Could also go to the Bills, by the way. They have a lot of salary cap.
No, that would be the worst thing that could possibly happen.
I could put him in this Patriots division. No, if he goes to the Jets or Bills, it's just going to be Odell and the Giants.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Except Odell's better. Arguably.
Arguably.
Odell's more swaggy at the very least.
Yeah. They're really good friends. They both carry a lot of drama, so that's probably why they're good friends.
Savage. Okay. Other news in sports. We are in the middle of All-Star weekend. The All-Star game is tonight. Dunk contest last night. Did you watch it, Riley?
I saw highlights.
Yeah, I wish I only saw highlights.
Was it bad?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
I heard DSJ missed a lot of dunks.
He did. He missed too many, and that's a shame because he's 252. We love him. He's from the Ville, Dreamville, but Diallo had the one good dunk over Shaq.
I saw that.
And people cry all the time. Oh, the dunk contest wasn't as good as Levine and Gordon. The dunk contest wasn't as good as Jordan and Wilkins. Oh, shit. It wasn't the best. It wasn't as good as when 4 of the freaking top 10 best dunkers of all time dunked. That's insane. I just want to see Vince Carter. I just want to see somebody like Vince Carter. Oh, too bad. Vince Carter's a 1 of 1, dude. Maybe next year when Zion gets in it, you'll see some cool dunks. It frustrates me. These guys aren't as good. It's like, well, sorry, dude. Those guys were freaking insane.
Yeah.
Like, Jordan doesn't play. Wilkins doesn't play. Gordon and Levine have jumped their legs off. And Vince Carter's 85. Like, take it easy. Not every event's going to be good. Oh, the Super Bowl was so bad this year. Shut up, dude. You watch the entire thing. So... you put it on yourself. If you don't like it, turn it off.
Big facts. People do expect every year to be the best year.
Yeah, we're spoiled as dunk watchers because there's that little white guy who goes around on Instagram like inventing new dunks. Like the one where he's like throwing it behind his head and he's not even looking at the goal and he dunks it. We're so spoiled as dunk watchers.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever because there's professional dunkers now. Like
they should let them do the dunk contest.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that people love. I'm gonna disrespect Michael Jordan on his birthday, but when Michael Jordan dunks from the free throw line in the All-Star game or in the dunk contest, people's minds were absolutely blown. Except for Dr. J was doing it 20 years before Michael Jordan did it, and Wilt Chamberlain was doing it 30 years before Michael Jordan did it.
Yeah.
And Zach LaVine at least did a windmill with it.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan was just like the first person to do it on live TV, and people lost their mind.
I remember saying this,
and he stepped over the line. By the way,
I remember getting he did. I remember getting in an argument with somebody at an MJ LeBron debate. We won't get into that right now, but the
feelings of the show are very clear on the GOAT debate.
I was arguing in favor of LeBron, and the person was arguing in favor of MJ, and I remember. What I said was, and they thought this was the most ridiculous statement, and maybe it was a little over-exaggerated, but I was like, if Michael Jordan played in today's NBA, he would just be, in terms of his ups, they would be, like top tier, but maybe above average ups compared to the rest of the league, because there's people that can jump like Michael Jordan can that, like, aren't even good players, that are, like, role players.
Zach LaVine.
Terrence Ross.
Well, look at DSJ.
Gerald Green.
DSJ is like a 50-inch vert. It's insane.
Yeah, DSJ. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's people that can jump higher than MJ, and they're not even all-stars. They're not even starters.
Dear Michael Jordan fans, Michael Jordan is just a bald DeMar DeRozan, and that's facts. That's facts.
I was just saying... He would have a lot tougher. One of his biggest advantages was his athletic ability was a lot better than a lot of other players back then.
The mailmen that he played against.
If he played against this league's athleticism, would he have been as dominant?
Nope. We've seen Michael Jordan in this league. His name is Kobe Bean Bryant, and he is not the GOAT. People,
we're not going to talk about this, Adam. We're not going to talk.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm serious, though. People compare Kobe to Michael all the time, and that is a great comparison. But there's no one in their right mind who saw LeBron and Kobe play on the same court who said Kobe's a better basketball player than LeBron James. He's just not. And we've seen Michael Jordan in this league. His name is Kobe Bryant, and he was the best player in the league for 1 year. It was Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant for 1 year, then LeBron James came, and he took the damn league over, and he hasn't given it up since.
Yes. Now let's talk about who everyone thinks is going to be the next LeBron James.
This is also a pet peeve of mine.
Yep.
Zion is Zion. LeBron is LeBron. LeBron is not the next Michael. Was never the next Michael.
There's always a next LeBron James. Andrew Wiggins was the next LeBron James coming out of high school.
We got rivalry week coming up Wednesday. I don't know what time. Wednesday, it's UNC Duke. Duke is going to be the number one team in the country, which I'm super happy about. Carolina has the opportunity to go into Cameron, upset what they call the greatest Duke team of all time, upset the number one team in the country, upset the greatest prospect in NBA history, upset the guy who when you get charged by him, it's like getting hit by a Jeep traveling 10 miles an hour, by the way.
Yeah, the guy, when you turn on ESPN, is just literally, his face is the background of the screen. Now, every game, there's not a court. Players are just playing on Zion's face.
Yeah.
Because that's all you see on ESPN.
I honestly would love to watch. Haters are going to say that we're butthurt, but imagine this. If I got some Duke fans listening to this. Imagine every time Duke is playing St. John's.
Yes.
And here you go. Here's a nice advertisement for Luke May, the double-double machine of the ACC, the walk-on who is taking the ACC by storm. Everybody loves Luke May. He's a freak of nature. Just imagine that. Every single time that you play someone not even in conference, you get updates about what your rival team is doing. Just hey, update ESPN. Don't give a shit. I don't care.
Why? Okay. This was, in hindsight, maybe the better game, but even probably not. Duke was playing St. John's, got ESPN. NC State was playing Virginia Tech, ended up being their 24-point game.
Lol.
But there was a top 25 matchup, and they weren't even on, they were, on the local network, not on national TV. And Duke was playing St. John's. They won by 30. Honestly, you might rather see the historic 24-point game from NC State.
I gotta say, I was watching. I turned on the NC State game. I got so bored that I was like, I'd rather watch Duke win this game than watch State lose.
Yeah, in hindsight. But, top 25 matchup versus, some team that's going to blow fucking doors off of St. John's.
Right. Let me...
On paper, that should be the top 25 matchup.
This is something that I didn't do for the podcast. I did it for my own personal pleasure. I started a list of when I was watching college basketball or when I was watching Duke basketball, and I'll admit, Duke is electrifying. They're very fun to watch. I can't wait for Zion to not be at Duke anymore so I can really cheer for him openly. Because the man is a freak. The man's a freak.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's nice.
He seems
funny,
super nice. Yeah.
And I'm just tired of his coverage. The coverage.
So these are the most outrageous things that I have read, heard, or seen while learning about Zion Williamson. Top thing. This is after the Kentucky game. An article came out saying that drawing a charge from Zion Williamson is like getting hit by a Jeep. Okay, first of all, you say, wow, that seems pretty outlandish because cars are really hard and go really fast. So you open the link and it says, oh yeah, by the way, the Jeep is going 10 miles an hour. Oh, great. So I get bumped into by some plastic. Awesome. This one, I've heard this so many times while watching a Duke game. Zion has to keep himself from jumping too high as to save himself from hitting his head on the rim. You think that Zion Williamson, he's got a wide open dunk breakaway, and he goes, ah, shit, better not jump too high this time. Get a haircut. That is just ignorant. Granted, I've never been that athletic, never will be. But never once have I tried to limit my athletic ability as to not injure myself in a game.
And when you're that athletic, everyone has control of their own athleticism, their level of athleticism. Ours is very low. We know if there's a kind of a low door, we probably shouldn't jump too high because we might hit our head. Zion knows, hey, if there's a 10-foot high basketball hoop, I know if I jump really high, I'd probably hit my head, so I'm just not going to do it. You should be able to control yourself. It's not like you jump and you're it's like a pogo stick and you're just oh my God, I didn't mean to go that high.
They said that he has to keep himself grounded. I think that's the dumbest thing ever. Okay, this is one from the Louisville game, which was the most monumental collapse since the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl, 50?
Yeah.
Coach K is an offensive genius. I agree with that statement, but here's the back to their thesis. He is an offensive genius for not running set plays with Zion and RJ. Oh, man. Coach K, man, you're so smart, dude. You get the best players in the country, and then you tell them just go play? Jesus Christ, you're Einstein on a court, buddy. Like, Coach K might be the greatest college basketball coach of all time. I might cast my vote for him. But to say he's an offensive genius because he lets these dudes play is just, it's so irksome. He's an offensive genius for that play he drew up to beat Virginia in the late game. That, in their first game. Here's one. If Zion was in the NBA, he would average a double-double with certainty. That's just... You can't say something like that with certainty. It bothered me to hear it. This one is Dickie V. Dickie V is by far the most cancerous person to listen to on College Game Day. Cameron Crazies, a.k.a. Duke students. Duke is one of the greatest schools in the country, academically. Cameron Crazies aren't stupid. Their average SAT scores are as high as anyone on the Duke campus. Oh, so you mean to tell me that Duke students are Duke students? Thank you, Dickie V, for that.
Cameron Crazies aren't stupid. Their average SAT score is about as high as everyone on campus, baby.
Duke could beat the Cavs. That's just false. They could not. They could not beat a professional basketball team. Duke has it tough. They had it tough in their Louisville game, by the way, because their flight 2 days before to Kentucky was delayed, and they didn't get there until about 9 o'clock. So, and they had a 9 p.m. tip 2 days after that. I can't.
Yeah, man, that's tough.
That's tough. I can't believe this was when they were down 20.
The people that say this, especially that one that Duke could beat, I feel like all these people that are riding Zion's, are just they're the same people that are Bama fans, like hardcore Bama fans, and are like, yeah, man, Bama could go beat the Browns any day of the week. Like that's just the type of people.
That is false.
They just transfer from Bama to Duke. Were you a Bama fan?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm saying it's false. That
I thought you were saying my comparison was false.
No, your comparison is accurate. Your comparison is very accurate. There's no way Zion and RJ and Cam and maybe even Trey will be successful NBA players. I'm not hating on Duke. I'm hating on the following of Duke that just thinks that they are completely infallible. Let's not forget, they were down 23 to Louisville. Granted, they came back because of the biggest choke job I've ever seen. But they were down 23 to Louisville.
If they could beat the Cavs, they'd beat every single team.
They lost to Gonzaga. They lost to Syracuse at home.
They should have lost to Florida State. Florida State.
I don't know. This is how Carolina beats them this week. This is what they do.
All right, I want to hear this.
First thing you have to do is you have to get Zion in foul trouble. You have to get the guy off the court because he's an absolute monster. The great thing is we are one of the few teams in the country that can run with Duke. That's our offense. If you run with Carolina, it's going to be a close game even if you're Duke. And third off, their weakness, our defensive weakness is their offensive weakness. Cam Reddish can shoot threes, but he's the only guy that we really have to worry about as a shooter. And any Carolina fan knows that we love to let people shoot open threes.
Yep.
And the good thing is if they're not hitting, Duke has to not be hitting their threes, Zion has to be in foul trouble, and we have to have a fast-paced game for us to win. That's the formula for Carolina to win, and I'm really hoping it happens. I'm very happy that Duke's the number one team because I would love to see. I'm going to be on Franklin Street watching the game, so I'm hoping that I get to run out and be really happy that we dethroned Duke.
Yeah, I agree. Zion foul trouble is a big key to me. I don't know that NC State game. I know you didn't watch it. They got Zion in foul trouble. It's probably the only reason they were relatively close down the stretch. They didn't really capitalize when he was on the bench, but that's the other Coach K had the right formula of driving at Zion because the dude's so athletic. He doesn't really go straight up whenever.
No, he's
trying to block it. He's trying to get that ESPN play every time. He's not going to hit the ball every time. He's going to slap a hand. Yeah. He's going to slap a body every once in a while. You can get him in foul trouble.
You have to first, when Zion has the ball, you have to try to force him to shoot the three. You have to pressure the ball with help, with backside help every single time. And when, as good as a defender as he is, you have to make him guard because he will. I mean, he will foul.
You know what else I want to see? I want to see a rotation of our bigs between Brooks, Manley, and Huffman, with the reason being I want them to hack Zion.
Yeah, they each need a turn at tasting Zion's nuts in their mouth, probably.
I want them to hack Zion. Like, no, don't let him go dunk it. Like, Brandon Huffman, just freaking do what you always do and just foul the shit out of him when he comes down the lane. And if we rotate them out, they won't get in foul trouble because they'll be more dispensable in that regard. And then put him on the foul line where he's much less likely to get 2 points than if you just let him dunk it. And if he's in the lane, you better foul him if you're going to foul him. Don't, like, touch his body and let him get an and one.
Right.
If you're going to foul him, foul the shit out of him.
Agree.
And then the other thing, I mean, our perimeter defense is bad. Their perimeter offense isn't that good. But I am a little nervous about who's going to go one-on-one with Zion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have the best players in the country. They have the best starting lineup in the country, and they genuinely deserve the number one spot. I think they're the best team in the country.
Yeah, everyone knew Tennessee wasn't, but you had to give it to them because they only had one loss. So.
Duke is the best team in the country, and I know I've been ranting about Duke, but let my feelings be clear. I'm not a hater. I'm even as far as Carolina fans go. People don't think I dislike Duke enough. I'm much more impartial to like. I dislike NC State more than I dislike Duke. I have a lot of respect for the Duke program, and I think that they have a great shot at winning the national championship this year. That being said, I really hope we beat the poop out of them, and because I really want to have a good time on Wednesday night. I want to go to Franklin Street. I want to be really happy. I want to get hammered, and I want it to be fun.
I agree with all the statements, except I definitely hate Duke way more than my dislike for NC State. But yeah, I think we're splitting with Duke. At least, I think we win one game. I don't know if
we gotta sweep them if we want to win the ACC regular season.
Yeah, maybe we sweep them. I think we win at least one. I don't know if it's on Wednesday and I don't know
March
if it's
9th.
And I don't know if it's March 9th, but it'll be one of them. And everyone thinks we're gonna get swept and it's writing us off. So
we might. We very well might get swept because they're better than we are.
We won't get swept.
I'm not so confident.
You at the beginning of the year you were.
Well, yeah, that was the beginning of the year. We're not as good as I thought we were going to be.
All right. Well, if Nas plays to his full potential, we will sweep Duke.
Okay. If he does something that he hasn't really done yet.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much what we have for sports, and we probably went on a little longer than we meant to.
Yeah, that's okay. I got a little impassioned about Duke and how they just love gobbling on Zion.
And I talked a little bit too much about the Steelers, but
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Listen, I really thank you. Me and Riley really thank you for giving this episode a listen. If you haven't listened to the stuff portion yet, give it a listen. We'll see you there. Otherwise, we hope you have a great week. It's midterm season, so go ahead and keep grinding through it. I got 2 exams coming up this week.
Got one tomorrow, or Monday.
So, yeah, guys, we love you. Follow us on Twitter, SP0RTS, the letter N in the word stuff, and we'll see you next time.
And hopefully the Heels get that dub on Wednesday.
That's right. Go Heels.